when they are not efficient, you can change them. You don't control their promotion. You don't control their movements. You don't control, in fact, you don't control who comes to your state. If we have state police, I'll be able to tell the police commissioner that if I have security infraction in a senatorial district twice without resolution, then I'll sack the entire thing. I will challenge a DPO, I will challenge a divisional police officer in a local government that if we have problem continuously from your local government, we are going to remove you from the force. And they will sit up. And they will sit up. If we must deepen democracy in Nigeria, I think that is the way to go, whether I'm in or out of office. Because my tenure is limited. I have only 3 years and 10 months left. So whether, yeah, it's true. I'm counting my days. So this is the way to go as far as security is concerned. Nigeria must see the need to behave like the developed economies, the developed democracies. You must, here you have federal paratroopers. You have the Metropolitan Police, am I right? You also have, all over here, I've seen officers from the Houston Police, and that is from the, so you can imagine. And you know, sometimes you bring in an Ibrahim to come and man somewhere in the camp, he can't even pronounce the name of the street. And some have never seen water, and you will expect them to pursue criminals on the sea. So we play lip service with security in Nigeria. Until we get to that point of deregulating the control of security, then I don't think we are very serious. Because this is how it happened in the telecoms industry. Nitel did not want any other competitor. And we have less than 700,000 telephone lines working in Nigeria. We struggled, I was one of the pioneers that struggled for the deregulation of the telecom sector. Because at the time I was the National Public Secretary of ACTRON, Association of Telecom Companies of Nigeria, who were the first set of pioneers. They did not want deregulation. And they said Nigeria did not have the backbone. You cannot carry up to 1 million lines. All those stories have ended. Today we are boasting of over 68 million telephone lines in Nigeria. So this security situation, we must plead with our governments in future that we must have the courage to deregulate control of security. Allow the states, let it be on the front burner of election. Let the state governor beat his chest and say, if I'm re-elected, there will be no security problem in my state. That cannot happen for now. But the best we can do, we are called chief security officers, and I always joke, I say we are generals without troop. But our job is to coordinate. But I'm assuring you that in your state, I believe we have crossed the Rubicon. With what we have done now, technologically in that state. In the next 1 month, you'll hear the result. So let me thank the AIDN for the great privilege. If you allow me, I'll stand here and tell jokes and stories and leave without saying anything. Because I'm very excited seeing all of you. But let me thank all of you, particularly AIDN, for the opportunity of bringing this galaxy of stars here. These are people I used to hear when I was young, and some of them, when I was growing up, those were the people who had the transport to go to US. Many of us who had no transport, we stayed at home. So I just came to report that we are trying. and because honestly, if I had the transport, I would have been sitting with you today. but you see, because of lack of transport, see where I'm standing. Is that? You see where I'm standing because of lack of transport. So I actually just said I must come and interact with you today, and then assure you that even though you left me behind, that we are doing our best to keep body and soul together, and that your state is doing well. It is for me a great privilege to bring you greetings from your land of birth, very warm greetings of love, from your fathers and mothers and your grandfathers, sisters and brothers, uncles, nieces, friends, and your colleagues way back in Akpabio State, God's own state. It is worthy of note that in spite of the millions of miles which separate you from the resting place of your ancestors, the flame of your love for our state has not flickered. Our forefathers had a wise saying that no matter how high the eagle flies, her legs will keep pointing to the earth. And I think that is why you are doing what you are doing. It doesn't matter the distance between you and us. You still think and dream Akpabio, and we also love you in return. I must say that this is a very great moment for me. You have the brief profile of Akpabio. I don't need to tell you that you are an oil producing state. I don't need to tell you that today you produce the greatest amount of oil. Did you know that? Your state is still #1 oil producer. And I don't want Nigeria to break up. I don't want Nigeria to break up. Because if Nigeria were to break up, you'll be like Kuwait. I hope you know that. But I believe Your Excellency, the Ambassador, I believe in the unity of Nigeria. I'm sure some of you have not been home for a very long time. And so you may not know what is going on there. But I must say that if you come now, 4 years after God's will was done in 2007, you will need a little bit of a tour guide to take you around. I'm happy the Honourable Minister of Housing and others are here, because sometimes even those of us who live in Akpabio, we get confused with what is going on. Monty here, I'm sure you can confirm if you used to come to your club and all that, so you should know what I'm talking about. Am I right? I lost my way because don't tell them yet until they come. So I don't want to bother to bore you, but let me just tell you that as your governor, I'm very proud to announce to you that your state has really done very well in the last 4 years. So much so that people refer to what is happening in Akpabio as uncommon transformation. And the way you know that your state has done well is not by watching what Tom Stinson and the rest write. Even at home, they have a local newspaper they put on the internet, which they call Global Concord. One day I was passing and I saw a very beautiful headline. Said Governor caught with $75 million in United Kingdom. Chief Assam to the rescue. So I stopped to pick up the paper. I said, which governor now? Then they said Governor Gospel Akpabio. And I was on my way to the church in New York. And here I was, caught in London. And when they are mentioning this amount, you wonder, somebody going with $75 million. In this world, in this global age, you carry cash of $75 million. But, you know, some people in the diaspora will comment on it and say, yes, before we know that governor, that is what he's doing. I see those things, so I forgive all of you anyway. So, my intention, I really didn't want to speak. I wanted to sit down so you ask me questions. Now that you are seeing me, so that I can answer. And then, because you'll be amazed that some of those who write those things have been to the state, and they also miss their way. But they come back and they write something, they write falsehood. And when you ask them, they say, if we don't do that, how will we be able to send the governor out of office? It's not important who is governor, but what is important is that the state should survive. And survive well. I want to assure you that in the area of education, the small story I gave you about Akpabio being very honest people, made up of honest people being used as house boys, house girls. This administration took a very holistic look at it. And we knew that the difference between the car seat owner and the driver was education. And we knew that we set a trap for other Nigerians. We declared free and compulsory education. I remember it was when I came here to the United States, I think it was in 2008 or 2000. I told you guys that when I go back home, that I'm going to declare free education. Well, I'm happy to report to you that I kept my words. We have, in the last 3 years, triple school enrollment. It's a beautiful thing that is happening. You have children of 30 years, 34 years who are now in school. honestly. The schools are bursting with population. But because I knew that we cannot just produce graduates in Akwa Ibom alone and allow our neighboring states who may wish to come to school in Akwa Ibom to remain illiterate, we decided to leave it for all Nigerians who are resident in Akwa Ibom State. So, because if you educate your child and you don't educate your neighbor, you are preparing armed robbers to attack your children. Therefore, that policy is open to all Nigerian children who are resident in Akwa Ibom State. The beauty of it all is that we are also paying subvention. To ensure that education is totally free, we abolish Parents Teachers Association levies. And then we pay 100 naira per child per term in the primary school to the headmaster or headmistress. Then we pay 300 naira per child per term to the school principals for logistics. Outside that, we also attempt to give them free textbooks. We have printed textbooks in different subjects, various subjects, and donated to the schools. Then one of the things that will also impress you when you come home is the aspect of the rehabilitation and major refinement of existing school facilities. We have done so much in that direction. You see schools with red roofs. This was the situation of what we met on ground. And these pictures are real. Look at those things. Those are the kind of things that we saw when we came. Can you imagine that? Children were living in those places. But maybe look at, this is what we see now. This is real. This is not computer simulation. Jemima, can you confirm? So I don't want to bore you, but we've done well in that area very tremendously. And then at the same time, we realized that because of the increase in the population of students in the primary school, secondary school, that will have problems with admission into universities. So we pursued assiduously the commencement of the Akwa Ibom State University in Ikoropaden, in Parene. And they started last year with the first student intake of about 600. I'm hoping this year that they will expand and we should be able to absorb up to 1,000 to 2,000 students and then expand the various faculties so that those who cannot get admission in University of Uyo can also have admission in the State University in Ikoropaden. And we are also appealing to the federal government to turn the Maritime University in Oron, Maritime Academy in Oron into a university so we can have more opportunities. This is not the model. This is already standing in Uyo. This is the e-library. I don't know, did you give them a lecture on the e-library? Did you mention the facilities then? Huh? For the e-library, you have conference halls. It can take at least 1,000 people in the city. You have boardrooms, you have offices, you have open reading areas, you have private reading areas, you have reading spaces for children and adults. Then you also have amphitheaters for children who are on excursion and are coming into the e-library complex. People can do their master's degrees and others right from there without traveling. It's a major thing. And I'll tell you that that's the first in the whole of West Africa, so it's not like Nigeria. When you enter the Akwa Ibom State e-library, which is the first in the whole of that region, you have access to 1,260 educational games, at least 1,000 simulations and math practice to build science proficiency, at least 80,000 questions and answers on tertiary examination practices and all that. Well, digital librarian